couple months ago, I did a whole Clefairy cosplay for a costume party. It was super fun, and I did document my progress along the way with little shorts, but I thought that it might be a little bit more fun to compile it into a long form video and just kind of show you step by step how I made my Clefairy costume. And along the way, I'm gonna have this little Clefairy show you which part I'm working on. You'll see what I mean in a second, so it should be pretty easy to understand what's happening, even though some of the clips are kind of close up. I always thought cosplay was super cool, but I had no idea the amount of knowledge you guys have to make just like a basic costume. First, I lay everything down and cut it out of a pink minky fabric. My first step is assembling the ears. They have 3 pieces. The main part is a big pink part that wraps around with a black part on top that forms like the outer triangle, and then the inner triangle is just black. This fabric puts fluff everywhere. I spent half of the sewing time just vacuuming it all up. My assistant didn't mind. Once I got the large outer triangle assembled, which was the big pink part and the bigger black part, I worked on attaching that piece to the inner piece, which is a narrow black triangle. Putting these together formed the pyramid shape that's pretty distinctive of Clefairy's ears. For the wings, I had 4 of these little wing shapes, and I sewed each of them together in pairs with right sides together. These took shape really quickly and really easily, and they immediately looked like wings, which I was really grateful for. Once I had the basic shape stitched around, I stitched through them to make the little puckers to indicate more of a wing shape. You can see those little puckers here, and then I attached them to this back panel so that they could look like wings, and then I attached 2 side backs over the wings so that the wings stuck out a little bit like this. The puffiness of the wings made for some difficult little seams, but overall they held in place perfectly, and I was really happy with the final result and the flappiness of the wing. I was concerned that the wings would be a little bit heavier and they would droop, but because of how secure the stitching was, they stayed pretty erect and in place. Then it was time to get started on the hood, which only had 2 pieces to be sewn together, and then I had to attach the little ears to them. I didn't have the ears stuffed at this point. Once the hood and ears were in place, I got working on the sleeves. I originally made them a little small and had to insert some 3-inch panels on the bottom. Once I got the hood all assembled, I think it looks super great. I'm very happy with the squishiness of the ears and this little face swirly thing that she has. I really feel like it's starting to read as Clefairy, and it's super comfy. I wanted the sleeves to have a little bit of a gather at the bottom just to be a little bit more feminine, so I added these cuffs. This fabric is rather thick and a little difficult to work with, so the gathering was kind of interesting, but all in all it worked out pretty well. I just had to go slowly and take my time. Luckily, while I got to work, my assistant got to work on some well-needed biscuits. The bottoms had 2 pieces. The first is kind of like an underwear bloomer type underlay, and then on top of that I had a little bit of a circle skirt that was open in the front and in the back for the tail to stick out. I originally started the bottoms using pink, and I used a pattern from a swimsuit, like a 1-piece swimsuit, but it was far too large. I did the initial try on and it was so big that there was no altering it. I just needed to start over. This wound up being for the best because I thought that the black minky fabric that was left over from the ears really wound up being fun for the bottoms, and it allowed me to do an entirely different shape for the bottoms, and I think it worked out a lot better than I had initially planned. It's really important for the fit of bottoms like this that you use a piece of 1/4-inch elastic that's quite a bit shorter than the distance around your leg, and stitch that in. It just really helps the leg holes have shape. You can't tell me that this tail isn't the cutest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. It was a little difficult to stuff around that big swirl, but it was fun. This is where I started over with the black minky fabric, And I actually used swimsuit lining for the inside, and this really did make all the difference. I finished the outside of the circle skirt with a zigzag stitch, and it kind of gave a fun ruffled effect, which I really enjoyed. I sewed the tail itself into the seam of the underwear portion, and I have the skirt overlaid on top of it. The tail is so plush, it's like a little cushion attached to my butt. It was so fun. I wore this to a costume party and I won overall best, which I think I was because I was very pink and a little Pokemon. Let me know what you think, and if you like videos of this type, I have a couple other projects I can make longer form videos for. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the build.